Yeah, I'm Alex Nagy, director of Twisted Cat Outdoors, also an angler, fish a lot of tournaments, do a lot of fun fishing, but I've been doing Twisted Cat Outdoors now for 6 years, and it's been fun watching Jason fish the events and a lot of others in the crowd. Also having new people come to the sport, which is also fun. So we're excited to talk about some new things and talk about some exciting things today.
So here the Masindales go off in their first tournament with a Rubbermaid tote, 5-gallon buckets, 16-foot boat, 40-horse motor on the Mississippi River. Wore our life jackets all day. We're scared to death. We caught some fish. Can't believe it. We finished well. We finished in the money, you know, and that was a lot of fun. Had we have not finished in the money, the Masindale brothers may not ever fish another tournament. And we were fortunate enough to cash that check. We barely finished in the money. I don't think it even covered the cost. But where I'm going with this is, and for you seasoned pros and everybody that's been there, we go to the town, we see 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe even 100 boats. And there's 8 or 10 guys, when you go back to that town, to that next year's tournament, you never see them again. Well, one and done is a good thing in college basketball. They play 1 year and they go pro. One and done is not a good thing in the sport of tournament catfishing, and really in the sport of catfishing to grow the sport. So, you know, we've had some guys, and I know these guys in the crowd that are seasoned pros, they'll come to us and they'll say, you know, hey Jeff Dodd, hey Carl Morris, you know, I can't catch 5 fish for 110 pounds. You know, I've never done it, you know, and that's what it took to finish in the money today. And I'm just not competitive, you know. I'm sorry, but you know, it's just too much money, and the wife at home says, you know, if I don't bring any money home, I can't keep doing this. Well, you know, that's you know, what we're trying to create and what we've come up with is something that we're going to give these guys that opportunity to be competitive, enjoy the sport, and also be a part of, be around the seasoned pros, to be able to and the fishermen, to talk to them and learn more. So, you know, started fishing Alex's tournaments, had a good time. And you know, this ideal that we've had, it's not a groundbreaking ideal, but this ideal I've had, you know, it needs to be somebody that's, you know, got their heart and they're in the sport for the betterment of the sport and for the betterment of making the sport of catfishing, you know, trophy catfishing a success. So reached out to Alex and talked about it, and I'm gonna kind of turn it over to him, because he's going to be the man that you know is taking time out of his busy schedule to give everyone this opportunity when they come to these tournaments. That, you know, there's guys we meet in the crowds, they'll say, you know, I'm not good enough, I can't fish with you guys, and I'm like, listen, there's guys, the best catfishermen I know have never fished a tournament. I honestly believe that. There's guys I know that can catch, thank God they don't fish tournaments, I'll be honest with you. But for those of you that, you know, want to get your feet wet and give it a try, get in the competition and the camaraderie, and I'm going to use the word brotherhood. My best friends I've met in trophy catfishing, and that's the honest to God truth. These are guys I could call up any day or night. We check on each other's families, and so we're wanting to welcome you guys, those that are interested in this sport, those of you on Facebook Live that are thinking about it. This is a way to welcome you guys into the sport, welcome you into the brotherhood, and I'm going to turn it over to Alex and let him talk a little bit.
Yeah, so exactly like Jason was talking about, I started the same way he did. I had a pontoon, first year in it, and I wanted to fish a tournament, and I didn't know what I was doing. Probably didn't know how to catch much fish, but still went out there. I did get discouraged, you know, fishing against a lot of really great anglers, but I kept at it, and like he said, you know, friendship, the catfishing community has been really good to me and Jason. And I mean, one of my best friends is filming here that I met catfishing. A lot of my best friends now are catfish guys, so that's kind of interesting. That's something we talked about earlier. So Jason brought the idea to me, and it made sense because everybody starts somewhere, and I think that's with what we want to do with an amateur series is going to be just for that. So go ahead, and I mean, I'll let you tell it. It's his idea, and I'm just going to help put it on.
And this is, guys, this is, as with anything, it evolves and it grows. You know, the first year of this, you know, we're going to learn. As Mr. Carl Morris said, you know, everybody makes mistakes. You know, when you make mistakes, you only get better. And so as we evolve in this and as this grows, The rules may change just a little bit, but this is a grassroots series that Alex is going to be doing through Twisted Cats. It's if you want to call it an amateur series, which don't get hung up on that terminology, but a grassroots type series. It's going to follow a lot of the same rules. It's a $50 entry fee, so that's $50 entry fee for the team, 100% payback. So the entry fees that come into this, 100% of it's being paid back. Nobody, that's going back to the fishermen that fished that tournament that day. It's a lot of the same rules are going to apply. The only difference is once the main event at the Twisted Cats will launch, they'll launch and get out of the way. Then the amateur series, the grassroots series, is going to, then they'll be directed to launch their boat. Okay, so they're not going to be putting their boats in. That just like Daryl and I, we were intimidated to even put our boats in with the crowd, and we've had other people say the same thing. Let these guys put in after the main show launches. They then put their boats in, and they're going to be launched in the same fashion, out of the way, because these may be smaller boats, so we don't want to put them, in a large launch with some of the bigger boats. They're going to launch after the main show, and then they're going to weigh in an hour and a half ahead of the weigh-in of the Twisted Cats regular series. A couple of reasons why is one, we don't want boat ramp congestion. Two, these guys, may be a little nervous about coming in, weighing in with a crowd. We'll give them those ample opportunities, and they're going to weigh their fish in. If it's a 5-fish tournament, the main show's a 5-fish tournament, this will be a 3-fish for the grassroots series. All right? So less fish, a little easier to take care of. If it's a 3-fish tournament on the main series, the limit's going to be a 2-fish for the amateur series. Rod rules, all that, same rules apply. Three rods per person, no more than 6 rods total. You can have as many rods as you want in the boat with state law, state laws allow. Question of live wells may come up. Tournament director is going to be able to help those individuals looking at fishing these tournaments. Call Alex ahead of time. He's going to work with you, make sure you've got a live well that's capable of taking care of these fish, because that's key. That's what we're all of us are out here to do. And then this allows these guys to come, be a part of it, see kind of what happens, and then after the tournament, after they weigh in, after the main event weighs in, to sit around and, as Carl said, and as Jeff Dodd said, that hour at the weigh-in, you're liable to learn more in conversations with each other, about what could you or should you have done that day, or what you did right that day, and that's going to help you make you a better fisherman. All right. So the next question is, once an individual or a team or part of a team, once you win twice in a calendar year or 3 times collectively, you cannot stay down there in that series. You've got to move up. Okay, so this keeps somebody from staying down in that series and winning and winning and winning and winning. That the ideal is this is an introduction to the sport. Okay, so correct me if I misspeak. Or if you finished in the money in a Team Cat event, the main event within the past calendar year, is that correct?
Yeah. So if in last year or this, previous year or the current year, finished and collected any money, then you're not allowed in that.
Okay. So the ideal there is it keeps people from dropping down and cherry picking, so to speak. It keeps that grassroots series competitive. And then also, once you've won twice or 3 within a calendar year or 3 times collectively, then you bump up. So for those of you guys that have competed in other sports like bow shooting or whatever that, bowling or that sort of thing, it's the same structure. It keeps it competitive, and it allows people to be introduced to the sport. And that's something we're very excited about, because we want to give everybody to be able to be competitive and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole goal of this is like how Jason started, how I started, how a lot of you start, is to, get in there and not be scared. I mean, don't, get involved. These guys are here, Jeff Dodd, Carl Morris, Jason Masindale, they're here because we want to help get people in the sport, help it grow. We'll answer questions. Don't be scared to call us. I mean, that's what I'm there for. These guys are here watching this because we want to help grow the sport. So there's a lot of people that I've had come and they fish and they don't do good, and you weigh 200 pounds and 3 fish, and that discourages them. So that's how we want to grow it. So it's definitely for the people that really want to try to get involved, see what it's about, and we're here to help.
Any questions that before? Yes, sir.
What's the footprint of the tournament? So you guys know where they're going to be?
So the whole series is we've got 8 events this year on the Mississippi River, Missouri River, Ohio River, Lake of the Ozarks. So it's just going to be the events that I've already scheduled just along with those.
It's going to be at the same time.
Yeah.
It's going to operate at the same time,
Yep.
and
we'll continue to expand on this and talk more about it. We just are kind of releasing it now.
there's right now, this is all Alex. This is his love of the sport. There's no major sponsor dollars coming into this. There's nothing like that. Hey, but that'd be great. That'd be great if people want to work and sponsors want to be a part of this. But right now, this is just nothing but for the love of the sport and trying to make this grow and make this because something I want to add on too is conservation is key. We want catfish to be a protected species. We want these trophy fish taken care of. We want, as it was said earlier, we want it better. We want it to be better than how we left it or than how it started. And that's how tournament and conservation can work hand in hand. There's a lot of guys out here that are really doing what they can to protect the species, protect the sport. And tournament fishing, if we can work hand in hand and make that work even better, because that brings attention, that brings public attention. These game and fishes, the DNRs, those they pay attention to this. This goes just the way that bass fishing has gone, just the way that walleye fishing has gone. Catfishing, we're following the same evolution of the sport. So we're excited what everybody's doing, and everyone's working together to make this greater, make this what it can be, not try to tear it down. So, yes. The payout. So it's $50 entry. It's a $50 entry fee. It's going to be 100% payout. Right now, the way our discussion is being structured is if there's 10 boats or less, it's going to pay top 3. If it's 11 boats to 20 boats, it'll pay top 4, and then kind of progress up from there. So to kind of spread it down the field. We don't want to make it winner take all. We want to make sure, because I promise you, if you take a check home, even if it doesn't cover your expenses, if you take a check home, you're a little bit happier when you go home and go to the significant other and say, hey, I was able to cash a check. Yes, sir.
You have a Facebook site or information?
Yes. So twistedcatoutdoors.com, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media outlets, and we'll be doing a lot of live videos and stuff on that. And again, my number's on that. If you have questions after this, feel free to talk to us. And we're going to really expand on this. This is definitely just, we're just announcing it now, but we're really excited. I think it's going to really help, bring.
I think what frustrates a lot of people trying getting into the tournament sector is it's $250 entry fee, it's a $300 entry fee, or $300 you have to be a member to something.
So for those that is being recorded on Facebook Live, the statement is for those that are getting in this, it's really frustrating for them at a $250 entry fee, a $350 entry fee, or even greater. It's frustrating for them just to give it a try. You've got quite a bit of money already invested. So this is that avenue. This is that pathway to allow those people to be a part of this and have an experience of competition and not maybe put out so much money. Because I've got friends, I've got guys that are great fishermen. They got bass boats, and they'd say, "Hey, Jason, I'd give that a try. I'm not equipped." To put 5 fish in the boat, but I do what I can do is, and as silly as it sounds, the Rubbermaid ideal, the large cooler ideal. I can strap one in, get some pumps, and make sure and take care of those fish and keep them alive. So it's just a great introductory to the sport and to the competition. I saw some other hands go up. Yes, sir.
You have like a professional
I can just barely hear you. I'm sorry.
You're going to have an event where, like, you get one professional and one amateur in a boat, and that way you get a hands-on experience.
That's nothing are really in the plans right now, but I can tell you that has been discussed. That's been discussed on several different avenues of having it. The question was, is there a pro-am, potentially having a pro and an amateur? I've heard that discussed through the years. It's a little, because this is a team event, it's a little bit harder to make that work. For a lot of teams are cat fishermen, but I can tell you that it has been discussed, and I know some guys are working on ways to try to make that work. I don't think Alex has anything in the plans right now, unless he may be keeping secrets on me. But
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I guess this is the closest way to that. You know, so you can come for a $50 entry, fish that amateur side, that grassroots side, but still have a lot of these guys that you can talk to afterwards and see how they did. And a lot of these guys, like I said, they're here to help. So when you can fish and, you know, Jason, you see him after the tournament and you guys chat and say, you know, it's a way to kind of get together. But not yet, but it's something for the future for sure.
Yes, sir.
So if you've had guys that have fished in your tournament before but never placed the money, they can drop down to them.
Yes, so the question is if you have fishermen that have fished in Alex's tournament series before and never finished in the money, they can drop down, and yes, they can. So, and you see that. You see guys that come in that fish several tournaments, and, you know, they may fish 2 or 3 or 4 and they're frustrated. You know, this gives them that avenue to come in and fish this series and be competitive. And I'm telling you, it's, you know, and for the seasoned cat fishermen, the tournament fishermen that's out there, you know, in Facebook world, you know, and I said it earlier, you know, let's embrace these guys, because every one of us has been there before. Every one of us has been there, nervous, scared to death, whatever. I mean, Cabela's tournament. I mean, I remember whispering to Daryl, like, "Hey, there goes Phil King," you know. There goes Lindsay Sample, you know, there goes John Jameson, these guys, you know. I mean, I was scared. I didn't even say hi to them, you know. And where I'm going with this is they're no different. Though they're great guys, and they've truly been mentors to me and my brother, and that's what we all want to do. The seasoned guys out there, I'm telling you, we're all competitors. You know, that morning, you know, some of us have our game faces on and we want to win and we want to beat each other, you know, what we want to do. But at the end of the day, you know, we're here for the betterment of the sport, you know, and we're all good friends. And you know, the guys I wanted to beat the worst are now my best friends. And I know that sounds silly, but, you know, that's something that's pretty unique, especially when it comes to fishing, because it is a brotherhood. So, you know, any other questions? No questions? Well, if you have a question that you didn't want to ask in front of the crowd, please feel free. I want to segue this into kind of a tournament etiquette and it's real short, but from a tournament director and even a fisherman. Guys, when you're fishing these tournaments, and if you're new to them, or even if you've been experienced, one way to make sure as a fisherman to have a good tournament etiquette is know your rules, know the state rules and laws, and know the tournament rules and laws. Don't get yourself into a sticky situation because you didn't know the rules. You know, that's not the tournament director's fault if you didn't know the rules. You know, if you have any questions, call them, give them a shout, tell them, you know, clarify those rules, okay? Make sure and get yourself there in plenty of time. You're there to have fun. These tournaments are fun. Give yourself plenty of time. You know, don't show up 10 minutes before launch and be upset with the tournament director because he didn't get you into the water in the 10 minutes that you were there. Okay, give yourself plenty of time. Take your time. Relax. You're there. You know, you're there. You know, you're not going to win that tournament in the first 5 minutes. Guaranteed. Very few. It's possible, but most of the time it's not going to happen. You've got all day to win that tournament. So slow down. Take your time. Enjoy yourself. You know, handling of the fish. You know. Come to the weigh-in line. Even if you don't weigh your fish in or you didn't catch a fish, come to the weigh-in line. Those cities, they want to see you come back to the weigh-in line. They want to see those boats. Mr. Dodd mentioned earlier, you know, the tournament director tells the city, I had 70 boats registered, and they're like, well, we only saw 20 weigh in. You know, come back to the weigh-in. You know, come in, share those stories, share your fishing experience that day. You know, take good care of your fish. If there's one thing I could say as far as tournament etiquette goes, Mr. Morris said he takes better care of the fish in his live well than he probably does his cat or his dogs. And where he's going with this is not only does Carl want to win that tournament, but he wants to win that tournament and make sure that these fish survive. Okay, so take good care of your fish. Put the time and effort in them, because, you know, catching the fish is half the battle. Keeping them alive is the second half to the weigh-in. But not only to the weigh-in, you want these fish to survive. Okay, so handle those fish with care. You know, when you put the fish into the tote for them to be weighed, you know, lay them in there. Don't throw them in there. You know, handle those fish easy. You know, some of them big fish, they're hard to handle. You definitely don't want to drop them. You know, use the grippers. You know, don't be tough guy and try to hold him by the lip, or at least I'm not a tough enough guy to do it. You know, use the grippers, use the fish grippers. Make sure, I know Alex has made sure to do that this year, so you don't drop a fish. You don't drop a fish over the side of the boat. Okay. I'll let Alex talk a little bit from a tournament director standpoint when it comes to traffic control and being ready before you get there.
Yeah, traffic control, I mean, as a lot of you know, I mean, the Mississippi River don't have a lot of big ramps, nice ramps like Owensboro, Kentucky, where there's a lot of room to park. One thing, I fished a tournament in December on the Missouri River. I know how that ramp was, so I stopped at McDonald's, got a cup of coffee, put my enclosure up, kind of got stuff ready. It's about a mile away, and then took my time. So I knew when I got to that line, I was ready to go. My guy had to jump in the boat and we could go. So even if you show up and you can't get your stuff ready, you know, maybe once you register, just kind of pull off to the side just to help. Because sometimes some of these ramps, when you get to, once you kind of pull in, there's no backing out. And if you still got to put an enclosure on or any of that stuff, just takes time getting your rods out of the truck, putting them in the boat. Just the more you can have ready, the better. And it just helps speed things up for other people. And, you know, if you're not sure, get there early. You know, we're usually there 2.5, 3 hours early before takeoff. Yep. And always, you know, like I said, people call me asking questions on how to get there. Always ask questions if you have any.
Make sure to know your rules, know if there's boundaries, you know the distance limits, you know, whatever those may be. You know, that just, you know, makes it for a better experience for everyone. As Alex said, get ready ahead of time. You know, don't. What we're saying here is don't get ready on the ramp. You know, don't wait till you're backing down to the water and then decide you want to load your cooler and everything else that may be. Do that away from the ramp, so that helps with the flow of traffic. When several of these tournaments will have to, you know, they park you. Make sure and park where, you know, follow the guys and park where they tell you to park. There's a reason why, because they're trying to fit as many of these big boats and these big trailers into a small area. You know what you don't want to see is a guy that pulls up there and parks sideways and blocks 10 spots. Don't be that guy. You know, and it happens. It happens almost at every tournament. There's somebody that gets they're nervous. They get a little confused. So, you know, if you have any questions, just ask. These tournaments are more than happy to help you work through this. Okay. In the end, you know, with these tournaments and tournament etiquette, you know, we're there to have fun. You know, Daryl and I have said this all along. We've chased this a long time. When we quit having fun, that's when we're probably going to quit fishing these tournaments. Have fun, no matter how you finish. Make sure it's a good day. You know, for those of you guys that may or may not be into tournament fishermen, I'm talking to everybody on the Facebook world. You know, you don't have to fish a tournament to prove you're the best fisherman out there. With today's social media, you know, you can let the fish that you catch do the talking for you, okay? So guys, you know, if you're not a tournament fisherman, there's nothing wrong with that. As I said earlier, the best fishermen out there I know don't fish tournaments, and thank God they don't fish them, because not that I don't want to see them, but they'd make it a whole lot harder to be able to finish in the money. So for you, those of you out there that tournaments aren't your thing, don't tear it down, you know. You can still push the voice of conservation. You can still prove and show everyone out there that you're the best fisherman in the world, because you've got a platform, which is social media. Let the fish you catch do the talking for you. For those of you guys that, you know, aren't into catching big fish and are into sharing the word of catfishing and sharing the sport and teaching everybody, hey, my hats are off to you. You've got a platform, you've got social media. Use that to help educate everyone, to help create and improve the sport of trophy catfishing and protect the species, because really and truly, that's all we're here for. You know, who here, and I'm gonna get one more raise of hands, I'm gonna get off my soapbox, who here wants to see the sport of trophy catfishing grow, I would hope. Who wants to protect the species? All right, we're all on the same page, we're all here trying to get the same goal. So let's work together to get there and make this better than it's ever been.
Yeah, so we're really excited. Like I said, you can talk to us after the show, send us a message. You know, we're just getting this out now, but we're wanting to better the sport. We're wanting to bring more people, get people that are a little nervous to fish a big event right off the bat with a cheaper entry and really help grow it. So
we appreciate it. Thank you all. If you have any questions, we'll be here afterwards and be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.
yes, thank you all.